This is the new BMW M5 and it's a world first for BMW's M division because there's something very unique about this car which you may like, oh yes, or you may not like. Let's do this. Now we all know that this car is a plug-in hybrid. BMW have said so, there's been lots of speculation, and yes, it is a plug-in hybrid. But what we don't know for sure is exactly what is underneath the bonnet. Have they gone and downsized? Let's find out. Right, I'm opening this with trepidation. Oh yes, based on this engine cover, it's looking like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Not going to trust that though. Let's count coil packs. It's quite hard to see. So there's 4 on this side. Let's just go the other side. Yes! 4 on this side, 2 turbos there. This is the 4.4 litre twin turbo V8 that you have in the XM and the X5M as well. And like the XM, it's mated to an 8-speed automatic gearbox with an electric motor fitted to it. On its own, the engine produces 585 horsepower and 750 newton meters of torque. But that electric motor produces 197 horsepower and 280 newton meters of torque. You don't just add those figures together to get the combined power output. It's slightly less because they have to meet in the middle somewhere. But the total system power output for this car comes to 727 horsepower and 1,000 newton meters of torque. And this all plays out in the car's 0 to 62 mile an hour sprint time. BMW says this new version of the M5 will do it in 3.5 seconds. The previous generation car will do it in 3.3 seconds. And the CS version of that, which was lighter than that car and had an extra 10 horsepower, will do it in 3 seconds. However, in my experience, BMW often lies about its numbers. The cars usually perform better than they say. So it's going to be interesting to see what the real world acceleration time is for this car. This is the first time in the M5's history that a new generation car isn't as quick as its predecessor. Now I know some of your BMW fanboys might be going, whoa, wait man, wait. This is just the normal M5 and the engine is producing 585 horsepower. With the previous generation car, they introduced a competition version which had 25 more horsepower. So surely there will be a competition version of this with, say, over 600 horsepower from its petrol engine. So that'll be faster, won't it? Have a better power to weight ratio. Apparently there's going to be no competition version of this car. This is it for now. There'll probably be a CS or something like that, but no competition version of the M5. So why has BMW made the new M5 heavier and slower than the previous F90 version? Well, it's all to do with emissions targets. Every car maker has to tighten its belt and build cars that emit less CO2 than they did before. And fitting a hybrid is one of the most effective ways to do that. At least BMW didn't downsize the new M5's engine like AMG did with the new 2-litre C63. Another good thing about the new M5, the way it looks. First thing to note, the car is wider than a standard 5 Series. It's actually slightly wider than the old M5, so you've got 1 wheel arches, gives it a sort of hinge look. I'll tell you what adds to that, this bonnet, which is like on the M3. I really like this bonnet design. Here at the front, you've got a grille, which is like the one you can get on the i5 M60, so it lights up. Now, I have mixed feelings about these. I'd like to think that I wouldn't illuminate it, but the fact of the matter is, if I had this car, I would drive around with it illuminated. Speaking of the grille, the M5 actually has vents here. That's filled in lesser BMWs, but the biggest difference I think to do with the grille is more down here where you've got much more aggressive bumpers with huge air intakes and vents. I'm just going to do a bit of fisting to check that they're real. So real in there, that's all real, realness. One thing you might notice is that unlike the previous generation of M5, there's no fake gills on the side and no M badging there either. The M badge on the side is here at the rear. Other things to note is that this car has the carbon pack, so you've got the door mirrors in carbon, but regardless of which ones you go for, they have the M design like that with the venting, and what's also included in the carbon pack, the all-important carbon roof. As standard, the car comes with a panoramic glass roof, but if you want the ultimate in sportiness, you may want that. Now, another thing that they've changed here at the back of the M5, obviously you've got the M5 badging to match the M5 badging at the front. The whole rear bumper is wider. One thing I'm not sure about though is this bit. Now, I can tell they didn't want to have fake vents like Mercedes would have done, so they've put some reflectors in there, but it just seems I'm not that into that part of the design. I do like this though. Quad tailpipes, really nice, and there is absolutely no fakery with these. They are completely real and very wide. I actually can get my hand in there. I feel like I'm birthing a cow. This feels like a good time to listen to the engine's cold start. That's not bad at all. But one of my favourite things about the new M5 is the new M animation that plays on the dashboard when you get in. Oh, I like that. I like this bit a lot. Yeah, you only get that on the M. That's really nice. But that's not the only thing BMW has changed about the M5's interior. So we've got the M steering wheel, and it feels a little bit thinner rimmed than M's of old, but still quite chunky. It's flat bottomed, you've got an M logo there, but this bit here just feels a little bit cheap and plasticky. I'm also a little bit disappointed that the paddle shifters are plastic, whereas on the M3, they are carbon fibre. You get these big M1 and M2 buttons, which you can pre-configure, so when you're driving along, you can press and change mode to exactly what you want. You do have the centre marker there, which is very important. One thing that's interesting is that there's 20mm more knee room in the back of this compared to the old M5 because it's got a slightly longer wheelbase, so it feels adequately spacious, decent headroom, lots of knee room, all rather comfortable. It's nice. I know what you're thinking. All this extra space in the back makes the car larger, which is just another reason why it's the heaviest M5 ever made. And all this extra weight is going to affect how it feels to drive. Right? BMW's M engineers say no, it won't. It'll feel exactly like an M5 should to drive because we've made some significant chassis upgrades. They probably said all that in a German accent, but you get what I mean. And I'm going to talk you through them now. You get lowered, stiffened, adaptive M Sport suspension, which has been specifically tuned to this car. The engine mounts and front strut braces have been strengthened. The connection between the front subframe and the steering rack is more rigid for better response. At the back, the stiffer axle mounts, strut braces, and you get rear axle steering as standard. And to cope with the extra weight, you might want to go for the optional carbon ceramic brakes. And of course, BMW has tweaked the 5 Series all-wheel drive system for this new M5. Though as before, it does still have that rear-wheel drive mode for smoky hybrid drifting.